everybody, it's Julie. Today we're journaling day 21 of 100 Days of Bible Promises, and I'm using this paintable card from Adorn It and Documented Faith. That was my inspiration, and I'm going to be using one of these little paintables from also Documented Faith, and this one's from the Create sheet. These are wonderful. They come in 12 by 12s, and they have all these different images that you can use for cards or tags or bookmarks, and I'm going to use this in my Bible journaling. So I'm going to start off by cutting this, isolating this particular image, and it's a flower. So I'm going to use my Adorn It watercolor pencils and my watercolor brushes. And I'm starting, this is just basic coloring, and I'm going to pick out a dark pink color. Now, when you're using watercolor pencils, much like regular pencils or crayons, when you're coloring, it really helps to have a side stroke. And then I'm going to come in with my watercolor brush and blend in that pigment. And now I'm coming in to add some more pigment by actually just picking up the pigment from the pencil tip directly. And that just gives it a little more vibrancy, a little more depth and texture. And I'm adding in some other colors, some orange and yellow to the center, and I'm going to blend those in with the watercolor brushes as well. You want to have some water loaded into your brush. And then, again, just picking up the color and adding this in. Now, this particular page, this video has taken me days to complete. I've had it finished, and it's just taken me several days to get this voiceover done. So you see me coloring here. I've done the leaves in two different shades, and now I'm adding in some blue around the background and just blending that in. This is one of the bigger brushes. It comes in 3 different sizes, so you can get the set or you can get just the individual sizes, but I need a smaller size right now. And here now I'm picking up the ink again. The ink, it's not ink, the pigment, the paint actually from the tip of the pencil. So I'm just drying that. You don't have to do it. You can let it dry yourself. And I'm going to cut that out. And now this could be a level 1 entry. I could simply tape that in with washi tape or use a clip, and that could be my entry, and I can add some journaling and even a title if I wanted to. But I'm going to take it to a level 2. And that particular, you can see it up in the top left corner, this little card. It was one of the cards from the mini coloring book from Adorn It. I loved that hillside with all of the designs in it, so I decided to recreate that. So I've pulled out some watercolor paints. These are the Adorn It paints, the cake paints, and I'm using various shades of green. And I'm just going kind of in a diagonal pattern across my page from bottom left to top right, and various colors. Now you saw me, I wet the page first, and this is basic cardstock. And I'm using a wet brush and just dabbing the ink, I keep calling it ink, dabbing the paint onto this piece of cardstock. I'm not painting, just dabbing and kind of blotting the paint onto the page. Now I did dry this off screen. Took me a few minutes. Now I'm just going to use a variety of washi tapes, and also this is one of the sticker sheets from Adorn It and Documented Faith, and this particular one is called Doodle Strips, and it's got these different designs and patterns. So I'm just tearing off strips, and I'm going along this background. Now this particular one was too dark, so I want to be able to see that color behind these stickers. Now what I like about these washi tapes and these stickers that I'm choosing is that they're translucent, and that's what I want to be able to see. I'm just adding in a few extra ones. You can see that I cut out some of the process here. I just sped through it, and I didn't think you needed to watch me do all of that. Now I'm trimming off the edges, and I decided to give it a curved top. And I could have left it like that, like it would be one big hill, and that's very pretty. I'm using a straight edge now to straighten it down. Again, I'm just kind of recreating that scene that's in the bottom left corner of that of your picture here. It's that paintable. But I decide, here I go, I'm just fixing a couple little empty spots. I decide actually I want to get a couple of hills going, and I'll explain that in a moment. So I cut it in half. And now I'm just playing around to see how I can get it to work. We are working in Philippians 4 verses 11 through 13. And I'm making 2 hills, and so I cut the 1 hill into 2, and I'm just trimming the edges a little bit. And the way you place them, it'll look kind of like rolling hills. And that one little edge there, I'm putting that in the back. So as soon as I put that down, this could be a level 2 entry. Just use that little card and then those hills, and that's a level 2 entry. But I'm going to take it to a level 3, and I'm telling you about these different levels so you can see how you can just do a quick entry, or you can bump it up to the next level or even more. So I'm stamping now with this cloud stamp, and this is a Documented Faith. I'm using all Documented Faith products in this particular video. So I'm using this whimsical cloud, and I'm stamping that up in the top, and you can see how I stamped those 2 up in the corner and hung them off the edge. I added a little bit of lavender and then a gray color to the outlines and then blended that in. This is a little pink for me. Now, I love pink, but these pink clouds, I'm actually going to come in and fix that and add some white watercolor and a white pit marker to it to make it a little bit whiter. And now I'm adding some blue background just to give a sky. And so I'm using a couple of different shades of blue. Add some yellow there in the corner to make it like the sunlight peeking out of the corner. Add a little bit of a darker blue, and I'm going to dry that. So I do cut out some of this so you're not watching the whole thing. I mask the verses so that would stay clear and clean. And now I'm coming in with some white paint, trying to make it look not quite so pink. And off screen, I come in after the process and come in with the white pit artist pen, and that tones it down and really makes it white and fluffy looking, and so you'll see that in the still shots. So now I'm taking, I cut out one of the clouds, and I also cut out the flower from the paintable card because I thought with the blue background that it would look best if I cut out this flower. So here's the level 3 entry. I'm going to glue down these hills, and I'm going to glue that flower. So I'm just adhering those. I'm going to use some foam tape, double-sided foam tape, to make one of those clouds and then the flower pop up. Now, here's my thought on this page. I really wanted just a simple kind of pastoral-looking scene, a beautiful, peaceful-looking scene, and that's what these hills reminded me of, because this passage says in Philippians 4, verses 11 through 13. And this is, again, using the 100 Days of Bible Promises devotional by Illustrated Faith, and Shannon Noel is the author, which I do have linked in the comment section if you haven't gotten it. It's a wonderful devotional. The verses say, "Not that I am speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound in any and every circumstance. I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through Him who strengthens me." This verse is often used by athletes and different people to help them be brave and to accomplish great, amazing feats. But this particular verse, as Paul is writing about, is talking about just dealing with being content. So our task here, and what God tells us and what He gives us the promise here, is that He gives us the strength to help us to be content when we need to be content. And we need to be content all the time in whatever God gives us. So that's something I struggle with, and that's why this particular passage is powerful for me, and this page is a prayer for me. And I add these hills down here because it's kind of like, you always imagine that the grass is greener on the other side. So I have these 2 hills here, and the one flower is blooming tall and beautiful. And the flower is blooming and being content right here on this one hill where it is. And it's not thinking about the other hill, the other side. So it's just content where it is. And God has given it strength to be content where it is. And God gives us strength to be content where we are and in whatever task we're doing, whether it's the laundry or it's the day-to-day mundane tasks of child rearing or our job or our, the cooking, the cleaning, the whatever it is that's in your life that seems to just keep going, and it's mundane and it's always there. But God gives us the strength to be content and to face all things and to be strong in Him. So this passage to me was very powerful, and the promise helps me to be content always. So here's the level 3 entry. I've added the paintable card. That was the level 1. And then I recreated the hills down at the bottom, the washi tape scene with the watercolor background. And then I made a background with the watercolor paints and stamped the clouds up there. And that took it to a level 3. So you've got 3 different levels of entries in this particular video. So hopefully something resounded with you and you'll be able to recreate. Remember, journaling is not about doing fantastic stuff. It's about just being with God and being content in the time we spend with God, and even being content in the processes and the pages that we make. So that's why I make this little tab out of the leftover washi tape strip, the scene that I made, and I punched it out with my tab punch, and I'm putting some letters that say content up at the top. And then I'm going to cut out, you saw the content, the word there, content. These letters are the Tim Holtz labels, and then also content, that word came from a print and pray printable from Illustrated Faith, and this particular thing right here is the 100 Days of Bible Promises, the toolkit. The always is from one of the washi tapes from Documented Faith, and there's the page. I did do some journaling that says I can always be content in Christ's strength, and I add my date and the Bible verse there. So I hope this video inspired you, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Leave a comment in the comment section if you have any questions, or if you just like to chat. Come back and visit me next time, and thanks so much for joining me. Until then, God bless. Bye-bye.